find her?
We saw her first in Antioch a year ago when Titus was on duty there. We thought her so superb that Titus paid for her to tour through the provinces. And now, my dear friends, the entertainment is over.
Oh, she was wonderful and a beautiful dinner.
Thank you, Claudius, but I wasn't inviting a compliment. It's just that I have something to perform, and I brought you here as some of our dearest friends to be with me when I do it.
What's this, Lolly? A surprise for me, too?
Yes, my dear, it is.
She never tells me anything. Very naughty, my dear, to plan a surprise for our guests and not tell your husband.
You know that I love you very much.
Now I'm really worried. This is going to cost me a fortune. What have you bought? How much have you spent?
Nothing. For once, I've spent nothing. You may remember that a week ago tonight, we went to a dinner at the palace given by the Emperor.
Of course.
You may also remember, though perhaps you didn't notice, that Tiberius was fascinated by our daughter.
I must admit I saw him looking at Camilla once or twice.
What you don't know is that she received a summons to the palace the next day.
A summons? You never told me.
No, I thought it best not to put you in a position where you'd object.
What is this, Lolly? What are you telling me?
A summons to the Emperor is not something to be refused. But naturally, I wouldn't let my daughter go alone, knowing his reputation. So I went with her. We were admitted into a room I imagine he keeps for such receptions. I'd never been into that room before, nor met anyone who had. Walls were hung with what I suppose the Emperor imagines is erotic art. They depict scenes of incredible beastliness, not fit for anyone to look at, let alone a young girl.
Lolly, what's the matter with you? Why are you telling me this now in front of all our friends?
These are not just friends. They're all, in their different ways, important people in Rome. That's why they're here tonight. He took Camilla up to the wall to show her the paintings and talked about them as if they were works of art. And when I objected and told him he should be ashamed of himself for trying to corrupt a young girl, he simply smiled and said, "And what about an old one?" "No, Titus, please." Then he clapped his hands, and a slave appeared from another room, carrying a tray of wine. The slave was naked. And while Tiberius spoke to her, he stroked the slave. I suppose in his twisted way, he thought it might inflame my daughter's passions. But Camilla burst into tears and begged to be allowed to leave. He then pretended to be upset and complained that she'd given him a different impression on the night of the dinner. He then turned to me and told me to go home.
I won't have you repeat anymore.
No, Titus, please.
No, enough.
Let me finish! If I'd had this with me then, I'd have used it on him. Instead, I begged a moment with him alone. He granted it. And there, I offered myself in my daughter's place. Yes, Titus, my husband. To save my daughter, I offered myself in her place. And he accepted. My dear, that was nothing for me to save her. I took her to the gate and warned her not to say anything to anyone, and then returned.
Lolia, please don't.
I've nearly finished. I said that to prostitute myself for my daughter was nothing. What wouldn't we do to save our children? I should have gone to the gate, into the room, out again. No one would have been the wiser. I did go into that room. I was there subjected to acts of such abominable filth, to bestial obscenities, with him and his slaves of both sexes, that mere prostitution seems like a blessed state compared to it.
You must forget Lolia. You must put it from your mind. You've saved your husband and your daughter. That's enough.
No, Agrippina, that is not possible. If there'd been just one part of me befouled by his lust, I should have come home and cut it out with this knife. And I can't live with the memory of what he did to me. Nor can I get into my husband's bed again. Nor have his arms round me. Nor feel the love he's had for me all these years without the memory of that beast and his beast coming between us. If I could cut from my mind.
Lolia! Lolia!
Make way there! Move aside for the Emperor! Don't block the road! Make way there! Stand aside! Clear the road for the Emperor! Make way!
Is it my son who greets his mother with such affectionate eagerness?
Good day, Mother.
In a hurry, are you? What is it, another treason trial? Who is it today?
There are no trials today, Mother.
Slipped up, have you? Run out of people to prosecute, or perhaps you'll have more time to spend with your mother.
There is no need to shout. I'm not deaf.
You've been deaf to me for years. Why did you refuse the ambassadors from Spain permission to erect a temple to me?
I will not discuss such matters in the street. Good day, Mother. Move on. Good day.
It's my birthday next month. What are you going to buy me? I heard about Lolia. Disgusting. Your brother Drusus was worth 10 of you.
Marcellus! Where is that damned astrologer?
Coming, Excellency, coming.
I want you to cast my mother's horoscope.
Your mother's, what for?
Because I want to know how much longer I have to put up with her. That's what's for.
Do you know the exact time of her birth?
Of course I don't.
Well, then I can only do a rough calculation.
Why don't you ask her? It's her birthday soon. You could tell her son wants to make her a present of her horoscope.
Oh, yeah, she'd like that. She's had a great admiration for you ever since you prophesied that she'd outlive her husband.
That was obvious. I could see she'd every intention of doing so. Still, I'll go and ask her for an interview. What is she? Leo! That's hopeful. There's a bad time coming up for Leo soon. I'll go and see.
If I'd stayed in Rhodes, I wish I'd never returned.
Someone must govern. Rome is fortunate that she has you.
Yes. And I'm fortunate in you, Sejanus. You're my eyes and my ears. If it wasn't for you to relieve me of some of my burden. What have we here?
Verbatim reports of conversations taken down by my agents. Some are merely vicious, others are treasonable.
Doesn't anybody in this city ever say anything that isn't either vicious or treasonable? The last 2 years, we've had more treason trials than the whole of previous 10.
There is one I think you should look at.
Silius Caecina?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he the corps commander on the Upper Rhine?
That's the point. Had it not been for the way I handled my 4 regiments, they would have mutinied too.
He said that?
At a dinner party.
Well, what did he mean by it?
What he went on to say, that if his regiments had joined the mutiny, Tiberius would not be emperor now. He implies, of course, that you owe your position to him.
Well, he'd had too much wine. You know what these old soldiers are like. They like to fight over all their old battles after dinner.
I think there may be more to it than that. But perhaps it's not important.
Well, what do you mean?
Oh, only that he went on to say, as you'd have seen lower down, that the regiments that did mutiny were the ones that had been under your command for so long. But he probably only said it because Agrippina was there. And after it in a compliment to her late husband, whose regiments, of course, remained loyal.
Agrippina was at the dinner.
Uh-huh.
Agrippina!
The noble Gaius Caligula to see the Emperor.
What do you want? Can't you see that I'm busy?
I brought you a present.
Present? What sort of a present?
Took me a year to find it. When I heard about it, I said, that is for my great uncle Tiberius. Happy anniversary.
What of?
Well, what difference does it make? Can't you think of something? Well, that's nothing. Wait till you see the others.
Where did you get this?
Elephantis, a merchant I know who travels between Egypt and Rome, told me about it, and I asked him to get it for me. It cost quite a lot. Well, to tell the truth, it cost so much I had to borrow part of it from Uncle Claudius. It's 200 years old.
It was very thoughtful of you.
I knew you'd like it. In fact, I'd like to borrow it myself sometime. I mean, when you're not using it.
I would like you to examine the evidence to see if there's a case for impeaching Silius Caecina in the Senate.
On a charge of treason?
Yes.
For insulting references towards the Emperor?
Why not?
Well, I agree, why not? But blasphemies against Augustus have been held to be treasonable, but against Tiberius, there's no precedent for it.
The Emperor's noble son, Tiberius Drusus Caesar.
Castor, how nice to see you. Welcome back.
I'm Castor to my friend, Sejanus.
I had hoped you would count me among your friends. Perhaps you will one day.
That seems to me unlikely.
Your father doesn't wish to be disturbed.
Announce me, you filthy German pig, or I'll have you flogged and sent back to the mud huts from which you came.
Never mind precedent. I want Silius Caecina impeached on a charge of treason.
He has a great war record, and he has powerful friends, the Lady Agrippina, for one.
Would you prefer I found someone else to prosecute him?
No.
Then you will take the case?
Of course. I was, to some extent, just clearing my mind.
Germanicus was never your enemy.
I tell you, he was my enemy. I know what his ambitions were. I have the proof here in the files. And I know how his widow conspires against me now.
Proof? From Sejanus?
Yes, from Sejanus. And he, at least, unlike my son, keeps me informed of what goes on in this city.
Oh, Father, open your eyes. The man is using you. You know nothing he doesn't want you to know, and you see no one he doesn't want you to see.
He is the partner of my labors.
Yes, and soon he'll be your colleague, but even that won't be enough for him. That man has an appetite for power unknown to you and me.
Envy.
Oh.
Envy. You envy him because for years he worked, while you and that Judean friend of yours, Herod, spent your days and nights whoring around the city. He worked to relieve me of some of my labors.
Well, that's true. But if you think he's working for you, you're mistaken. He's working for himself, and how hard he works.
Have you finished?
No, I have not finished. His statue is now to be seen in Pompey Theatre, and replicas of it are to be found all over Rome. He's built a network of spies that have spread like an infection through the city. Well, don't you see? He's building a prison here, stone by stone, and one day, when you're gone, we'll all wake up and find the doors locked and the bolts down.
Did you have a report to make on the coastal defenses?
Yes.
Well then, make it!
He's interested in nothing nowadays except treason trials. And pornographic books. You know, he had one with him. I think Caligula had bought it for him.
They seem to get on well, those two.
Yes, that young man gives me the shudders. How Germanicus and Agrippina could have ever produced him, I don't know.
Did you quarrel with your father?
We had an argument over Sejanus. He's blind to that man's ambition.
Don't you think you exaggerate?
No.
Well, what can he aspire to, a commander of the guard?
I sometimes think he aspires to sit where my father sits. He doesn't realize how much he's grown to depend upon him. He seeks his advice on everything.
Why don't you go to sleep?
I don't know why I'm so tired.
You've had a long journey.
I came to say goodnight, Father.
Good night.
I'm glad you're back.
I'm sorry I was so tired. I really can't keep awake.
You'll feel better in the morning. Good night, Mother.
Good night, Helen.
She's becoming very beautiful.
Yes. Her skin's not all that it should be, though.
You, too, are looking beautiful.
Thank you.
Why don't you stay?
Not tonight. You're tired. You'll sleep better alone.
Yes, you're right. I really can't keep my eyes open.
Did he sleep?
Yes.
Is he fast asleep?
Yes. Quick.
No, wait. Don't be in such a hurry. Much better if you wait. Did you do as I said?
Yes.
Put it in his wine.
Yes, it worked. He'll sleep till morning. I thought you'd never get here. What are we going to do?
We're going to make love. For the last time.
Last time?
Mm.
No. No. I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear it. He'll go away again.
It's too much of a risk. Be sensible. If we go on like this, we're bound to be discovered. It's too dangerous. Be sensible.
How can you be sensible? I don't think you love me. Not really.
I love you too much to risk exposing you to a charge of adultery. Don't tempt me, my darling. Help me.
We could still meet.
How?
I could do what I did tonight.
Drug his wine? He'll begin to grow suspicious if he falls asleep every night. Besides, his body will grow accustomed to it. It'll gradually cease to have any effect. And then, my darling, one night in your eagerness to see him asleep, you might kill him.
Would a large dose really kill him?
What do you say?
I can't live without you. I can't. I can't. I think I'd die if you didn't come into my bed every night. It's such a little step to take from making him sleep at night to making him sleep forever.
And you'll need something stronger. Something that can be used in small doses, will never be detected.
Get it for me.
You sure?
Yes. Yes.
If you are.
And afterwards.
I'll divorce my wife and we'll get married. And then I'll have you all to myself. No lovers for you then. You'll have to behave.
And if I don't?
You don't. And I'll lock you in a room without any clothes. And I'll visit you 3 or 4 times a day.
Perhaps you'll be too tired. Perhaps you'll only manage once.
Then I'll send my guard to stand in for me.
Would you really?
Yes,
How many?
3 or 4.
I might not let them.
You'll be forced.
Against my will?
Yes,
While you were there.
yes.
I'd struggle and scream.
But no use.
You'd like that. Wouldn't you?
What's your hurry?
Look at this. Came this morning.
Lady Livia Augusta expects her dear grandson, Tiberius Claudius Drusus, to dine with her on the occasion of her birthday. She hopes that he is in good health.
Can it be?
Well, it says, I imagine. I should take her own wine if I were you.
Don't joke, Herod. I'm very nervous. I mean, she never invites me. We haven't even spoken for 7 years. Do you know the last time she spoke to me was when Caligula burned the house down? And then all she said was, if you haven't got a bucket, piss on it.
I remember. Your family all lunatics who know that, don't you?
Well, in that case, why don't you go back to your own family? Too dear.
I prefer the lunatics I know to the ones I don't.
Where are you off to now?
I must look for a present for grandmother.
Well, what about one of these?
Yeah, I know that face. Who is it?
He knows that face. Wonderful. Claudius, people know that face better than they know their own.
Sejanus.
It's a replica of the head of the statue they've erected to him at Pompey Theatre. Everyone's buying them.
Everybody had better buy them.
Well,
Here, have one.
Oh, thanks. I've got nowhere to put it. Oh, don't be obvious, Herod. You're very tedious when you're obvious. I must go. Custer, you're not looking well.
No, I don't feel well. I've not been well since I returned.
How's my sister? I invited her to a public reading of my work while you were away, but she never came.
Well, the villa say it's never been literary.
Well, you never came either.
Ah, well, that's because mine always were.
Herod, you're talented, but dull. I must go.
What a dear divine fool my cousin is. And how nervous everyone makes.
If I've been asked to dinner with your grandmother, I've been nervous too. He's right, you know. You really don't look well.
Oh, it'll pass. You worry so much. We got
Halt!
Silius Caesina? Oh, what's this?
I'm to be arrested, it seems.
By whose order?
By order of the State Senate.
On what grounds?
On the grounds of treason, Gaius Silius Caesina is to be impeached before the Senate.
It seems I made some defamatory remarks about your father. I don't recall them.
Now, this must be some sort of joke, Varro. You'll be laughed out of the house.
I don't think so. Please stand aside, sir. I'm on state business and may not be interfered with, even by the Emperor's son.
Forward!
O divine Augustus, take these offerings, I beg, poor as they are, and help me, your unworthy successor, to rule wisely in your place. And help me too, O my father, divine ruler of the world, to calm the raging spirit inside me and lighten the dark shadows of my soul and bring me peace. Peace.
Hypocrite. Hypocrite. You sacrifice to Augustus, but you persecute his grandchildren.
Grandchildren of Augustus do I persecute that he himself did not persecute?
I'm not talking of my brother Postumus, I'm talking of me. Of me! All my friends, one by one, you either banish or you charge them with treason, and their only crime is friendship for me. Even Lolia, whom you could find nothing against, you degraded and humiliated till she took her own life. And now you've arrested Silius Caesina.
And if you are not queen, my dear, have I done you wrong?
Oh, why do you persist in this childish belief that I want to be queen? Is it because you need to find reasons for the way you treat me?
And how do I treat you?
You persecute me!
I will not be screamed at even by the granddaughter of Augustus. Silius Caesina is charged with treasonable utterances.
Utterances?
What brings the emperorship into disrepute? Undermines the foundations of the state.
Tiberius, perhaps I do you wrong in thinking you persecute me because of my friends. But you too do me wrong in thinking me ambitious. I'm tired. Since Germanicus died, I've hardly known what to do with myself. All I want is to be left alone. And be good to my children.
Have I not been good to them?
Oh, to Caligula, perhaps. But to Nero and Drusus, you're cold and never inquire after them. Oh, Tiberius, let's not fight one another all the time.
As for your children, they are guiltless of any crime. I will look upon them as friends. As for you, I will never forget what you made me do to Piso.
Tiberius, Claudius, Drusus, Nero, Germanicus.
Happy birthday, Grandmother.
Oh, is that for me?
Yes, it's a vase. From India.
Ah, very pretty. And from such a distant place. It's a pity we never got that far. So many fine things we could have picked up cheap. Sit down, my dear, and eat something.
Regular.
Uncle?
You, Grandmother.
Taking everything on one throw, Uncle Claudius?
Hold your tongue. That was a very polite gesture of confidence in me and was much appreciated.
Have you had lots of lovely presents, Grandmother?
Several, my dear. And Priscillus has drawn me the most detailed horoscope for my birthday. Such work has gone into it. Amazing.
A horoscope full of incident and prophecy. I was amazed at it myself.
It was a present from Tiberius. Wasn't that nice of him? Of course, what he really wants to know is how much longer I'm going to live.
Are you sure you...
Oh, shut up. It's a foolish mother who doesn't know her own son.
And did he find out?
Oh, yes. Yes, I shall die soon. Next year sometime. My son will be relieved.
I shall tell him nothing. It would be an unforgivable breach of professional ethics.
You're a liar. Like all good astrologers, you're a liar. You can go now. They tell the truth about the future, but they lie their way out of the present.
Lady, let me reassure you, I could be wrong. If your mother was mistaken over the exact time of your birth, by so much as a fraction, it could mean another 10 years of life.
You see, they can't resist it. They're all so insecure, these astrologers. They also want to be loved. Go away, Priscillus. You'll get no love here. What are you grinning at, monster? You are a monster, aren't you?
Whatever you say, great-grandmother.
Did you know your nephew was a monster, Claudius?
Oh, was he old enough to have acquired that title?
Oh, he started very young, didn't you, monster? I searched his room one day and I found a little green talisman that told me a very remarkable story. Or rather confirmed one I'd heard from another quarter.
A green talisman, like my brother wore?
The one your brother wore.
Do you think it's safe that Uncle Claudius should be told my secret? Or are you going to poison him?
Oh, he's quite safe. And remember this, monster. Your Uncle Claudius here is a phenomenon. He's so old-fashioned that because he's sworn to protect his brother's children, he will never harm you. And remember this, too. Thrasyllus has prophesied that he will avenge your death, so you cannot harm him.
I didn't think much of that prophecy.
Never mind what you thought about it, just remember it. Now you may kiss me and go. I want to talk to Claudius in private.
Good night, great-grandmother.
Good night, Uncle.
My body fascinates him because it's so old. You'd think it would repel him, wouldn't you?
Why do you allow him such familiarity?
Because it pleases him. And because he will be the next emperor. You don't believe me, do you?
If you say so, Grandmother. You know, I don't concern myself with high politics, but still, what about Castor? And Caligula has 2 older brothers.
Castor is ill and Drusilla says he won't recover. He also says that Tiberius will choose Caligula to succeed him.
Why?
Vanity. Tiberius wants to be loved, at least after his death, if not before. And the best way to ensure that
is to have someone worse to follow him. Yes, naturally. Well, he's certainly no fool.
He's the biggest fool in my family. I always thought that that was you. But I think now I was wrong.
Grandmother, after all these years, you didn't invite me to dinner just to tell me this.
Wine has made you bold, hasn't it?
You said you kept in with Caligula because he was to be the next emperor.
Lost your stutter too, I see.
But if by then you're dead, what difference can it make to you?
Oh, it makes a lot of difference. And that's really why you're here. I want to be a goddess, Claudius. Priscilla says he's sure I will be, which means he's not sure at all. He just thinks I will.
Why are you so anxious to become a goddess?
Oh, don't you understand? Claudius, do you believe that the souls of great criminals suffer eternal torment?
Certainly.
But that the immortal gods, whatever crimes they have committed, are free from any fear of punishment?
Yeah, of course. Jove deposed his father, killed one of his grandsons, incestuously married his own sister. He's the greatest god of all.
I've done many terrible things, Claudius. Well, no ruler could do otherwise. But I've always put the good of the empire above all else. Well, who saved Rome from civil war again? I did. Augustus would have plunged us into it time and again with his ridiculous favoritism. He set Agrippa against Marcellus, Gaius against Tiberius, Tiberius against Postumus. There was no end to his follies. And it fell to me to remove them, one by one. Don't say you never suspected. That's why I tolerate Caligula. He's sworn if I keep his secret, he'll make me a goddess as soon as he becomes emperor. Now you too must swear that you'll do everything you can to see that it happens. Well, don't you see? If he doesn't make me a goddess, I'll be in hell. Hell. Suffering torments day and night, year after year after year.
Grandma, please, don't disturb me. Of course, I'll do what I can.
Oh.
On one small condition. See, there's so much I want to know. I'm an historian, and I want to know the truth. See, when people die, so much dies with them, and all that's left is just pieces of paper that tell lies. Lies, lies.
He wants to know the truth, and he calls it a small condition.
Come on. Who killed Marcellus?
I did. The empire needed Agrippa more than it needed Marcellus. And then I poisoned Agrippa later, because I knew that his wife was in love with Tiberius. And if Tiberius married her, Augustus would make him emperor. My son botched that up, of course.
And Julia's sons, by Agrippa, how did they die?
Gaius, I had poisoned when he was in Syria.
You have a long reach.
The empire is very large. I need one. Lucius was drowned in a boating accident arranged by his friend Claudius.
And Posthumus.
You were very fond of him, weren't you?
Yes, Grandma.
He was useless. I had to get rid of Posthumus. He was a threat to Tiberius. Besides, he knew I'd had his mother banished.
What about my father, who was your son? And Germanicus, who was my dear brother? Did you poison them?
No. Your father died of his wound. And Plancina poisoned Germanicus without instructions from me. But I'd marked them both down for death.
Why?
They were both infected with that infantile disorder known as republicanism.
So was I?
Yes, but you didn't count.
If I ever had the opportunity, do you know the first thing I'd do would be to restore the Republic?
Then you are a fool after all.
What about Augustus? Did you poison him?
Yes. Yes, I did. I smeared the poison on the figs while they were still on the tree. I had no choice. He would only eat them if he'd picked them himself. It took me all night to do it.
How could you have done that, Grandmother? And you lived with him for so long.
Yes. That was hard. Very hard. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Oh, you've made me tired with all your questions. You must go away. Take this. Read it sometime. That is a collection of Sibylline verses rejected from the official book.
Why?
Because it's prophesied there that you will one day be emperor.
Oh.
You.
I what you say so, Grandmother.
You won't forget your promise.
No, I won't. If I can become emperor, you can certainly become the queen of heaven.
The noble Tiberius Claudius Drusus Nero Germanicus.
Claudius, my dear fellow, how nice to see you.
I was on my way to see Castellan, told he's very bad.
Yes, but he'll recover, I'm sure. Your sister is taking such good care of him. Actually, I wanted to have a word with you.
What about?
This may seem an odd question to put to a husband, but did you know your wife was pregnant?
No, I didn't. How do you know?
I know.
Well, it's nothing to do with me. We haven't even spoken for a long time.
You'll have to divorce her now.
What for?
Well, you can't be married to a woman who's going to bear someone else's child. What an eccentric fellow you are. Your uncle will expect you to divorce her.
Oh, of course I'll divorce her.
Whom will you marry?
Harry, I'm just getting divorced.
Yes, but you won't want to live alone, will you?
Well, I was living alone all the time I was married.
Well, then it doesn't matter whether you marry or not.
I'd rather not.
Nonsense. I have just the woman for you. She's beautiful. Independent. She'll leave you alone as much as you like.
Who is she?
My sister. Alia.
She wouldn't want to marry a thick fool like me.
Oh, she wouldn't mind. Besides, you're the Emperor's nephew. That's a good alliance for my family. And on your side, you'll be my brother-in-law. I've spoken to the Emperor. He's given his consent.
Oh, in that case, anything you say, Sejanus.
Good. Well, that's settled then.
Very decent of you, Sejanus. Thanks a lot.
He's dying. Dying.
To see the Emperor to convey my sympathies on the death of his son. He sent word he never wanted to see me again. A nod is as good as a wink from that direction.
Where will you... Oh, Herod, back to Judea?
No, to Edom. My grandfather, Herod the Great, came from there. It was your father, Lady Mark Antony, who made him king of the Jews. He did them no favor, believe me. On the other hand, he did my grandfather no favor either, for the Jews are a quarrelsome people and drive all their rulers mad.
Now, what will you do in Edom? I understand there's nothing there.
Oh, I shall, My grandfather's domains were divided among his 3 surviving sons. When that he had 3 left is a miracle, for he murdered all the rest. I can only think he overlooked them.
He sounds a colourful character.
If black is colourful, he was colourful. From there, I shall decide which of my 3 uncles is the safest touch and make my plans accordingly.
You must marry Herod.
I have someone in mind.
A Roman?
No, lady. We Jews believe in marrying only among ourselves.
Then you're a very arrogant people.
Well, practical. There's so many things we can't eat. No Gentile woman would stand it for a moment.
And what's this Claudius about a marriage for you?
For Claudius? Why, he's already married.
But he's getting a divorce to marry Sejanus' sister, isn't that right?
Is this true?
Well, Janus.
Oh, get it out!
Well, my wife, Ogilvy, is apparently having a baby, and it's not mine.
I shouldn't think it is. You never see her.
Well, that's the point. So Janus suggested I divorce her and marry his sister.
I've never heard anything so monstrously wicked in all my life. You are an even bigger fool than I thought.
What difference does it make to me? I shan't be seeing her either.
You're a fool, Claudius, and Germanicus would have had no patience with you.
Probably.
Can't you see the vile ambition that drives that man? Can't you see it's just another step on the way? By this marriage, he relates himself to the imperial family. And then what? Livia? Does he plan to marry her?
Livia? What has he to do with Livia?
He's her lover.
But Sejanus is married and has 2 children.
For heaven's sake, what kind of world do you think we're living in? I'm sorry. I'm upset. Castor's dead. Cilia Cecina committed suicide this morning, even before the trial had ended. One by one, my friends vanish. Where will it end? You've betrayed us!
Oh, Pina.
Why did you agree to it?
Well, he asked me.
Is that all you can say? You blockhead!
No. He's not a blockhead. It's we who are the blockheads. If Sejanus had come to us with a proposal like that, we'd have given him his marching orders. But Claudius knows better. Claudius sways and bends with each little wind that blows.
By which you mean he's weak and cowardly.
Perhaps. But at least he's still here.
But at least he's still here. Yes, still here. And they've all gone, every one of them. It's like a dream.
dreamed by Livia sleeping fitfully down in hell. No. Livia is dying. Dying. The mother of the nation is dying.
Livia is dying. She sent for you. She wants to see you. Why, I can't imagine.
Dying?
Yes.
But it was only a cold.
It's settled on her lungs. She's sinking fast. And she's asked to see you. Well, are you going to sit there all night?
I hear you're dying, great-grandmother.
You won't forget your promise, will you?
To make you a goddess? And what makes you think that a filthy, smelly old woman like you could become a goddess? I don't need you anymore, you see, great-grandmother. My secret will die with you. You're going to stew in hell forever and ever. Let me tell you something. Thrasillus has made another prophecy. Told Tiberius. He said, one who is going to die soon will become the greatest god the world has ever known. No temple to be dedicated to anyone but him in the whole Roman world. Not even to Augustus. Do you know who that one is? Me. Me. I shall become the greatest god of all. And I shall look down on you, suffering all the torments of hell, and I shall say, leave her there. Leave her there forever and ever and ever. Goodbye, great-grandmother.
How are you, grandmother? Don't cry.
He was here. Caligula was here. He said he wouldn't make me a goddess.
I'll see that he does, grandmother.
He said he'd leave me to stew in hell. I want to be a goddess, Claudius. I deserve it.
You shall be the queen of heaven. I promise you.
Really? Go on playing the fool, Claudius. Stay with me till I go. Put a coin in my mouth to pay the ferryman for the journey.
Goodbye, grandmother. Safe journey.
Maybe someday fly away. Maybe someday to steal my
With the death of Livia, the last restraint on Tiberius was removed. He handed the running of the empire over to Sejanus and retired to Capri. A reign of terror began. No one was safe. Sejanus arrested Agrippina, her eldest son Nero, and countless others besides. His ambition was limitless. He had divorced his wife, Epicata, and become my sister's Livia's lover, hoping to marry her. My mother remained curiously innocent of much that was going on, until one day Epicata came to visit her. Sejanus had taken their children with him, and Epicata wanted them back. She feared my sister would harm them once married to Sejanus. Now she demanded that my mother speak to my sister and enlist her help.
Will you speak to her? Will you ask her to persuade him to let me have them? To her, they'll only be a nuisance. They'll come between him and her. I can understand that. But to me, they are everything. Everything.
Understand this, that though my daughter has lived in my house since the death of her husband, we are not on friendly terms. I despise her, though she is my daughter, and I'll ask no favor of her. I despise that man I know to be her lover, and you too I despise, for having married him knowing what he was. And now you complain because he treats you as you were once content to see him treat others. You disgust me, all of you. You and people like you have made a sewer of Rome, fit only for rats to live in. Honor, service, duty mean nothing anymore. For your children are everything to you, and what of Rome? All you are, you owe to Rome. But you destroyed it, all of you, with your greedy ambition and your petty selfishness. Well, then enjoy what you have made of it, but don't come crying to me.
I didn't come here to talk of Rome, but of my children. Rome can sink. I want my children. And if you won't help me freely, then I must tell you something, lady, that may compel you. I told you I knew much and more besides. Well, here it is. Your daughter's husband died no natural death. Castor was murdered by your daughter. Sejanus supplied the poison, but she fed it to him. Believe me, that guilty pair are set upon a course that would lead them to a kingly crown. They'll settle for nothing less. If I go to Tiberius with this story, what then becomes of your precious family name?
You're lying.
No.
What proof have you?
Slaves that will talk, freely or under torture, of things seen and heard.
Then why haven't you been to the emperor before?
Because Sejanus has the sorting of his mail and the sifting of his visitors. You should know that. To get to Tiberius would cost me my life, and that's my last resort. Oh, yes, he still reads people's wills when they leave everything to him. Not even Sejanus can prevent that. And if need be, that's the course I'll follow. Without my children, my life is nothing. Think carefully, Mark Antony's daughter. Guard your family name. Let the lovers have their crown. What is that to us? But get me back my children.
Well, she certainly loves her children.
Oh, you fool. Is that all you can find to say?
Well, what else do you want me to say?
Do you believe her?
No! Not a word of it. She's demented. Her mind's unhinged. The villa's done some pretty dreadful things in her time, but I can't believe she'd do that.
What dreadful things?
Oh, things. Well, she connived at the banishment of Postumus. Oh, well, you know.
No, I didn't know. How? Why wasn't I told?
Well, it was all a secret. I'm the only one that knows. I think Livia paid her to it.
And why was it a secret from me and not from you?
It's a long story, Mother.
Well, what am I to do now?
We shall find someone else for you to marry. Stop blubbering, child. Do you think the affairs of state must take account of your marriage plans? What is it? She's crying because she can't now get married to Nero. I've told her we shall find someone else.
Is that all you can think of, Helen? Your own thwarted pleasures? You'd do better to pray for his safety. Now leave us. I want to talk to your mother.
She thinks of nothing but marriage.
And what do you think of?
What does that mean?
Is it true you intend to marry Aelius Sejanus?
You've been talking to someone.
Is it true?
He's asked me to marry him, yes. And I've accepted. Why not? I'm tired of living alone.
Oh, do you live alone?
I live here. You see whether or not I live alone.
You live here, but I don't keep track of your comings and goings.
I am still a young woman, Mother. Castor died nearly 5 years ago. You can't expect me to live like a Vestal.
I'm not talking of whose bed you climb in and out of. How and to whom you dispose of your body is your own affair, but marriage is different. Do I need to remind you whose child you are?
I am in love with him, Mother. And he with me.
He's using you.
I don't wish to discuss it further.
You're living in a fool's paradise if you think Tiberius will agree to it. Well, if you marry him, what will happen to his children?
What do I care about his children?
Apicata would like them to live with her.
I see. You've been talking to Apicata.
She came to see me. She would like you to persuade Sejanus to let her have the children back.
You wouldn't do that. He's very fond of them.
To let her see them again when she wants to. He's stopped her seeing them.
What is that to me?
I don't know. Perhaps one day it might be a great deal.
I must tell you, I cannot allow you to marry Livia. I've read your letter very carefully and given it a great deal of thought. But I'm afraid in the end the answer must be no.
May I know the reasons?
You're entitled to know them. Such a marriage would compel me to raise you to the most exalted rank.
You know I've never looked for that.
Oh, I know that, but I would have no choice. Do you suppose that Livia, once married to my son, would be content to grow old as the wife of a gentleman outside the Senate?
Well, you could ask her.
Like all women, her answer would be one thing before marriage and another after. Her brother Germanicus and her father Drusus, my brother, both held the highest offices of state. Don't you think there'd be a faction in Rome that would demand the same for you?
I have always said I have no wish to rise above my present rank.
But there are some who say that you have risen above them even without rank. See, in envying you, they criticize me.
You say, on the one hand, I have too many friends, and on the other, I have too many enemies.
Well, is it untrue?
Well, if it is, I made them in your service.
I know that.
I'm not complaining.
No, I know, but you're disappointed. Let me put another proposal to you. One that would excite less comment. Since Nero's arrest, his betrothal to Livia's daughter must be considered at an end. Would you contemplate marriage with her?
With Helen?
Why not? Such an alliance with my family would be much more acceptable to me. Well, think about it. Now, who is it that wishes to see me?
I have the list here. I've marked the ones I think you should see. The rest of no consequence.
Well, those you marked I'll see tomorrow. The rest you can send away. Well, you can deal with your problems yourself.
And Agrippina?
I'll see her now.
I take it you have no wish to see Nero.
None. Oh, Thrasillus, was I wise to deny marriage with Livia? Thrasillus?
Wise, Excellency.
And to offer him her daughter instead?
He deserves it.
She's my right hand. Without him, I'd be everybody's judge in Rome and the butt of everybody's hate. As it is, let him be the judge and him be the butt. My dear, you look like a Greek tragedy.
And you look like a Roman farce.
That tongue of yours has cost you dear and will cost you dearer.
You pitiful worm-eaten old ruin. It's not my tongue that cost me dear, but the love that people have for me and my family.
And how you have used that love against me.
Against you? Germanicus could have led the armies of the Rhine against you, but he was too noble. They proclaimed him emperor when Augustus died, but he said Rome already had an emperor. More fool him.
Every word you say makes my task easier.
Oh, don't pretend you ever found it hard to be vindictive. That you always were. But are you now so senile that you're blind to your own interests?
I'm not so senile that I'm blind to yours.
You're an old man, Tiberius, and you'll die soon. Where can you look for a successor except to the sons of Germanicus?
I have a grandson of my own. Ravilla's boy.
Gemellus is a child. Rome isn't Egypt. Children don't rule because their fathers ruled. Rome must be governed by men, not infants.
I'll make my own arrangements. Thank you.
You. Oh, you think you'll make them. But he'll make them. Sejanus, that black spider that sits on your shoulder, squirting his poison in your ear. You think you rule in Rome? He rules in Rome. And the moment the last of my boys is dead, you'll know he rules in Rome.
My dear, how pretty you look when you look angry. It makes me sad to have to send you away. But a queen must have a domain, and I've chosen yours. Do you know where I'm going to send you? To the island of Pandaria, where Julia, your mother, spent so many years in exile. You will inherit her kingdom. That's only just. Your greatest wish will be fulfilled. You will be queen after all. And as for Nero, I'm sending him to Ponza, an island even smaller than yours. You will have to think how to govern these mighty empires. If you're lonely, I could come and call on you.
Blood-soaked mud you've been called, and that's what you are.
Bring me a vine branch! This queen needs flogging before she goes!
Gentlemen, if you will leave your names with my secretary, all your requests will be considered. Excuse me.
Commander, did you mention my case to the Emperor?
Every case was discussed. The Emperor's decision will be communicated to you in good time.
But you did
Now,
promise...
if you will excuse me...
But...
Father, you're back! I told you he'd be back today.
You only guessed. You didn't know.
Well, I was right. May we have dinner with you this afternoon? We've been very good, haven't we? We've done all our lessons.
Then you can have dinner with me this afternoon. And now, go to your rooms. I have some work to do.
Father, why can't we see Mother again?
I told you I didn't wish to discuss that again. I'm very displeased that you disobey me.
She came here while you were away. The servants wouldn't let her in. Oh, Father, please let her come and see us.
Go to your rooms. You have made me very angry.
Don't be angry. We didn't mean to make you angry, did we, Junius? Only we do miss her.
Lady Livia is here.
What a pretty girl you're growing into, Arya.
Thank you.
Now, go to your rooms. We'll meet again at dinner.
Did you ask him?
Yes.
What did he say?
He refused.
Refused? But why?
He said you were too exalted for me. Well, in a way, you are.
But we must marry. That's what we've planned. What we waited for. Did he give any other reason?
He said you wouldn't be content that I remain in my present rank. He said it would foster dangerous jealousies.
Then you must try again later.
I don't think so. I think we may have made a mistake in asking him. I think it may have made him suspicious.
But he knows I have the right to marry again. Well, if he won't give his permission, we shall marry without it.
That might be dangerous.
And what are we to do? I want to be married. You promised me marriage. Have you changed your mind?
No, of course not.
Well, does it suit you living the way we do? Darling, all that I have done for one reason, and that is to give us the right to be together. And that old goat is not going to stop us.
He did suggest something else.
Something else?
He said that he wasn't opposed in principle to a marriage link with his family. He suggested a marriage with your daughter.
I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
Stop it!
You swine!
Listen to me!
Filthy swine!
Will you stop it?
No!
Will you listen to me? Listen, if that is the only way we can be together, why not?
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? To be in bed with mother and daughter, you bastard, you filthy bastard!
Listen. Let's be practical.
Don't touch me!
Helen means nothing to me! But if Tiberius is agreeable to a marriage, then why not? That solves our problem. I will be linked with the imperial family. You will live with us. We'll be together.
And do you think Helen will agree to all this?
Helen will do as she's told. It will mean a break between us.
A break?
Not for long until the marriage, so that people will think there is nothing between us. But after that, it'll be as though the marriage had never happened.
And you'll service us both then, will you, like a stallion?
Don't talk like that! I love you! Now don't spoil it! Everything is going as we planned. Agrippina and Nero have been banished. They won't return, I can promise you that. I'm having documents prepared that'll send Drusus the same way. In a few weeks, Tiberius will consent to his arrest. Then that only leaves Caligula to deal with. When that happens, Tiberius will have no one to turn to. But me. Now, let's be sensible. We have waited a long time. You know I'm nothing without you. Let me talk to Helen. Let me persuade her. Trust me. That's all I ask.
Once again, the Emperor writes from Capri demanding yet another arrest. First it was the Lady Agrippina and her eldest son Nero Caesar, and now it is her second son, Drusus Caesar. No documents are produced for the Senate to investigate. Only our consent is asked for. Our signature, like that of some compliant wife. Senators, my signature is not to be had for the asking. I was brought up to read a document before I signed it. You may do as you please.
Senators, I ask that the question be put for the arrest of Drusus Caesar.
No!
But I must see the Emperor. Those letters were forged. They're not mine. Please, let me see Sejanus. Please, let me out. Please, let me out.
He makes too much noise. Go into quiet now. Otherwise you don't open the door.
Well, how do we feed him?
It won't.
Uncle Claudius! Uncle Claudius!
Caligula, where have you been? Staying at the house in Antium. I took some friends down there. Had a wonderful time.
Have you heard? Drusus has been arrested.
Yes. It's a great shame, isn't it? Do you think they'll kill him?
Did worry you? After all, he's your brother.
Said it was a shame, didn't I?
Listen, Caligula, I think you're in grave danger. Who from? Who? Shh.
Tiberius?
No, I don't think so. He's invited me to Capri.
Capri? Yes, to Capri, yes.
Are you going?
Well, of course I am. Everyone has such a marvelous time. The stories I've heard. Do you believe them? They say that he has little girls running around the gardens like wood nymphs, naked.
What are you going to say to him?
What about it?
About your mother and your brothers.
What on earth can I say to him?
Oh, damn it, boy, doesn't it worry you?
Well, yes, of course it does. I'll have to watch my step. Very unpredictable these days.
Listen, Caligula, if you get the chance, you must speak up for them.
Of course I shall. For Mother, anyway. To tell you the truth, I couldn't give a damn about Drusus and Nero.
But they're your brothers.
Yes, I know. But then you don't like Aunt Livilla, and she is your sister. Now I love my sisters, Uncle.
Yes, I know. You know, you depress me unutterably. Undimes, goodbye.
Oh! And your wife, the Lady Elia's here.
My wife? What does she want?
Well, how should I know? She's not my wife.
Well, don't be so rude. Hey, show it in.
Claudius, I heard you were in Rome. Why didn't you come and see me?
Well, at 4.
What for? Oh, shouldn't a husband be seen with his wife?
Well, we're not exactly a husband and wife, but I'll come and see you if you like.
Oh, don't flatter yourself. It's to your advantage to be seen with me. You may be a member of the imperial family, but you're not every woman's ideal husband. In fact, you're not any woman's ideal husband.
Did you come here just to tell me this?
Oh, don't try and be clever with me. I came here to see your sister. And when I heard you were in Rome, I thought I'd let you know that I was alive and well. Are you alive and well?
I think so.
Don't look either to me.
Well, it's been a very trying time since I got here. You know, my sister-in-law's been arrested.
Oh, Agrippina, yes. Well, that's been coming for some time. You may thank your stars you're married to me. That's brought you under my brother's protection. So, what are you doing in Rome?
Oh, I came up to use the Olio Library. I've just finished the history of Carthage. Would you like a copy?
Are you being funny?
Oh, Mother, Elia has just called to see us.
Well, I really came to see Livia. Well, I should have been surprised if you called to see my son.
Well, he makes no effort to see me either, you know. It's an arrangement that suits us both.
I'm sure it does. I find life very strange today. Those who are married live apart, and those who aren't live together. It would seem for the good of Rome we should abolish marriage altogether.
Well, your ideas are too advanced for me. Well, Livia is waiting. Excuse me.
What does she want with Livia?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps Janus sent her to find out how Helen was.
Am I to understand that man is now paying court to my granddaughter?
Well, he's had meetings with her, and he's not seeing Livia anymore.
What is wrong with Helen? The doctors don't seem to know.
Well, perhaps it's just one of those women's complaints.
Oh, don't be so ridiculous. What do you know of women's complaints? The girl's been in bed for a week.
I want you to give him this. No one must see it. And tell him to destroy it when he's read it.
How is Helen? Is she improving? What exactly is wrong with her? He's very anxious about her.
He'd do better to be anxious about me.
Dear, his feelings for you are unchanged. You must know that. His marriage to Helen is a marriage of convenience.
He promised to marry me. Do you think I'm going to stand by and see him marry my daughter?
But if Tiberius...
Oh, Tiberius won't live forever. Your brother belongs to me. Tell him not to forget that.
He hasn't forgotten it. He loves you.
He manages well enough without seeing me.
Men are different.
It's driving me to despair. I can't bear this separation.
But it's only for a little while. And for appearance sake.
Ah, Atticus. How's it?
Ah, my dear sir, so well, so well. We have already completed 12 copies. It's going to be a wonderful edition. Have you ever seen such work? Look at this lettering. Oh, have you ever seen anything like it?
Very good, but I don't like all this decoration. It's far too ornate.
Oh, my dear sir, this decoration is fashionable, and if I may say so, for a history of Carthage, what could be more apt than elephants?
Yeah, but I didn't ask for elephants.
Yes, I know you didn't ask for elephants, but knowing your superb good taste, naturally I thought you'd agree.
Well, I don't. This is a serious work. Just because I mentioned elephants into the text, why do we have to see them?
But it's a motif.
Well, it's a damn telemotif. I've mentioned Hannibal's mistresses. I suppose you've drawn concubines all over the text, too.
Well, if you don't like elephants...
No, I don't.
Very well. No more elephants. Elephants are out. Our esteemed client disapproves of elephants. Even your elephants, which, I may say, are exquisitely drawn. But if a client does not like elephants, we shall force no elephants upon him. You will rework the entire edition. The copies won't be ready in time, of course.
Oh, well, I need one copy today. Very well, I'll take one with elephants.
Are you quite sure?
Yes, I'm quite sure. Just get it for me.
Ah, my dear Asinius Gallus, what a pleasure to see you. One history of Carthage with elephants. Our work for you is on time. Your copies will be ready in 7 days.
Good. Now, Claudius, what's this about a history of Carthage?
Yes, I'm having one copied, without elephants. I'll send you a copy.
Did you read my essay on Pollio and Cicero?
Yes. I didn't quite agree with it.
Ah, well, walk with me to the Senate and tell me why not. Goodbye, Atticus.
You will erase all trace of elephants, leaving only the bare text. Ah, what a feast for his readers.
Alas, I heard Pollio speak many times. He was a great orator, but he was no comparison with Cicero.
Well, I have to say I think you're a fool. Cicero's speeches were pompous and contrived, and he thought far too much of himself, and they must have sounded worse than they read.
Signus Gallus. Lucius Asinius Gallus, I have a warrant signed by the Emperor for your arrest.
My arrest on what grounds?
Of inciting enmity between the Emperor and the commander of his guard, Lucius Aelius Sejanus.
Is this a joke?
No joke.
Better hurry with your history of Carthage, Claudius. There'll soon be no one left to read it.
Sign it.
What is it?
A confession.
To what?
Your conspiracy with Drusus to subvert the armies of the Rhine. Sign it.
You wrote it, you sign it.
Sign it. You will before we finish with you.
I'll sign nothing for you to produce after I'm dead. Bring me to trial or murder me and take the consequences.
There'll be no trial. I have no need of a trial to prove your guilt.
A song sung by every small-town corrupt policeman, which is what you are and what you should have stayed. I've watched your career with fascination, Sejanus. It's been a revelation to me. I've never fully realized before how a small mind, allied to unlimited ambition and without scruple, can destroy a country full of clever men. I've seen how frail is the structure of a civilization before the onslaught of a gust of really bad breath. Yes. But I suppose you're not really the destroyer. We must look elsewhere for that. You're merely the putrefaction that spreads after death, the outward and visible sign of its presence. You're a lesson in history to me, Sejanus, proving that above all, mankind needs its sense of smell.
Bring him round. We'll start again.
They've arrested Asinius Gallus on the steps of the Senate.
Read this.
I was there when it happened. Read it.
Why? What is it? What are they? I don't understand. It's the villa's writing.
Read them! They poisoned Castor. Both of them. Apicata was right. With his help, my daughter murdered her husband. She reminds him of it, there. And now she urges him to waste no more time, but assassinate Tiberius and take over the state. It'll be easy, she says. Every guard owes allegiance to him.
What are these?
Oh, isn't it obvious? Drafts of the letter she wrote him. Oh, I can see how difficult it would be to write. How she crawls and grovels to him.
Who find them?
A slave was clearing out her room. He was taking it all to the furnace. Perfectly good paper, most of it. Hardly written on. Oh, I thank the gods for my habits of thrift. Oh, he's wicked, but she's worse. She is monstrous, monstrous, and I gave her birth. She's poisoning Helen.
Oh, mother.
She's poisoning her, I tell you. Slowly, bit by bit, she is poisoning her. She is obsessed with that man, and she will stop at nothing to get him.
Well, what shall we do?
Tiberius must be told.
Do you want people to know that your own daughter... Anyway, nobody sees Tiberius or writes to him without owing through Sejanus.
What's that thing you're writing?
Thing? What do you mean by history of Carthage?
Yes. Is it finished?
Yes. I was having it copied. I just brought one copy home. Would you like to read it?
No, I tell you what you must do. Yeah. You must go to Sejanus and ask permission to visit Tiberius at Capri. Tell him you want to ask Tiberius' consent to dedicate the work to him. Sejanus will allow it, I'm sure. He's nothing but contempt for you anyway. He'll suspect nothing.
Oh, thank you.
Those pieces of paper must be pasted in a scroll together with a letter of mine, and you will tell Tiberius to open that one first.
Well, I suppose I could, but I didn't want to give him this copy. It's got elephants drawn all over it.
You were the biggest fool any mother was ever punished with. Who cares about your stupid history? Nobody is going to read it anyway, and certainly not Tiberius. The only way you would get him to read it is if you drew naked women all over it. Then he'd only look at the pictures. What? Uncle Claudius? Why?
Get out! You know what's in this scroll? Your mother's a very noble woman.
What's happened?
Your uncle has brought me evidence. My son was poisoned by his wife.
Livia? I always knew that woman was no good.
She poisoned him with the help of Sejanus. Now they plot to assassinate me.
People really are despicable.
The point is, how to arrest him. He controls the guard. 4,000 of them. All loyal to him. Not to me. His loyal servants, not mine. Castor warned me. I wouldn't listen to him.
Well, is there no one among them you can trust? No man of integrity?
Not that I know of.
Isn't that a terrible comment on our times, Uncle? On the other hand, if you can't find a man of integrity, I always say, look for a man with ambition. Find a dog who'll eat a dog.
Well, do you know of such a person?
Yes, I do. Sertorius Macro, Sejanus' second in command. He's very popular with the troops.
He arrested Alice.
Isn't he loyal to Sejanus?
Oh, yes, of course, but he can't move up while Sejanus is still there, can he? And he is very ambitious.
Do you know him personally?
No, but I've slept with his wife several times.
And is deception with the wife regarded these days as a sound introduction to the husband?
Oh, he knows about that. Told you. He's ambitious.
I shall make you my successor, Gaius Caligula. I've decided. You shall stay here with me. Rome deserves you. I will nurse you like a viper in her bosom.
Is that a joke, Uncle?
Not yet, but it will be. Sejanus must be put off his guard. He must suspect nothing. I know. I'll tell him I'm going to Rome. I'll ask him to meet me on the Senate steps, where he will hear something that will surprise him.
What about his friends? He has a lot of friends.
You and I will draw up a list during dinner. A long list. The city will be purged. As surely as if she had gorged herself on figs for a year. I will open Rome's bowels. The streets will run like a sewer.
Hail, Sejanus.
Macro, why are you here?
The Emperor sent me with a message for the Senate.
Where is the Emperor?
Waiting outside the city.
Why did he not send for me?
I could hardly ask you to deliver this. I believe it contains his request that you be made protector of the city. Doesn't that mean his successor?
Then you had better deliver it. I'll see that you get my command.
Has Father gone inside? Why doesn't he wait for the Emperor?
Because he's obviously not coming. He never comes.
What a shame. We may as well go home then.
Captain of the Guard! You recognize the seal?
The Emperor's, sir.
Read it.
Sir!
Take your guard back to the barrack. Inform all company commanders they're to remain in camp till I arrive.
Sir!
Forward!
Change! Forward!
From the Emperor Tiberius to the Senate of Rome, greetings. This letter is to bring to your attention a man who has for many years been my main support in the government of Rome. I refer to Lucius Aelius Sejanus, commander of my guard. Though not of senatorial rank, the very highest honors have been showered on him as a reward for the trust I have placed in him. Senators, what blow is harder to bear than a trust betrayed? Incontrovertible proof has been placed in my hands of a conspiracy to assassinate your emperor and take over the state. That conspiracy has been hatched and led by none other than the man in whom I put all my trust, Lucius Aelius Sejanus. Such is the advanced state of this plot to seize power that I, your emperor, am marooned outside the city and dare not enter without certain assurances.
What's happening? Sejanus has fallen. He's to be arrested. Now, come on, move out of my way and let me pass.
To safeguard yourselves and your emperor, to safeguard the Senate and the people of Rome, I demand the arrest of Lucius Aelius Sejanus and all those connected with him. Signed, Tiberius Claudius Nero Drusus Caesar. I ask the question, shall the Senate follow the emperor's advice?
Do it. I can't just kill them. They're underage.
They're on the list. Now get on with it.
The girl is a virgin. It's unprecedented to kill a virgin. It will bring bad luck to the city.
Well, make sure she's not a virgin before you kill her. Now get on with it!
Macro, what have they done with the children?
They've gone on ahead of you, my friend. Like a good many others.
Take him.
What are you going to do with her? For heaven's sake, let her out! How long are you going to leave her in there?
Until she dies.
Dies? Have you gone mad? She's your daughter. How can you leave her to die?
That's her punishment.
How can you bear to sit out here and listen to her?
And that's mine. Leave me, Claudius. I shan't move from here until they open that door and find her dead. Leave me. Help me, Claudius! Help me! They're killing everyone! Everyone who was a friend of his or a relative! Claudius, don't let them take me! Save me, Claudius! Save me! I'll do anything. Anything, Claudius. Let me hide here. Let me hide. I'm your wife! You must protect me! Executions are taking place all over the city. The Senate straps are strewn with bodies. They've even murdered his children! They raped the little girl before they killed her. And they dressed the boy up in his dancing gown! And they can't have killed herself when she saw this in the body!
Help me, you have finished! Finished! You are despicable!
Oh, Claudius! Please, Claudius! Help me!
No, get out of my way!
No! No!
No! I never want to see you!
My alliance by marriage with Sejanus' family might have cost me my life, had it not been that I was my mother's son. I was now allowed to divorce Elia and to return an eighth part of her dowry. As a matter of fact, I returned it all. She must have thought me a fool.
Breaking down, we didn't shattered now. I won't be stopped. freest thing. I run it hard free. I better to be freedom.
I found it in that box. In there. The box was in my nephew Caligula's bedroom. This once belonged to his father, Germanicus. I said I would tell everything, and I shall. I shall hide nothing. Nothing. And if what comes next may seem incredible, believe it. Believe it. Of the last 5 years of Tiberius' reign, the less said the better. He remained at Capri, entirely given up to his perversions, until at last, when people began to think he would never die, he suffered a massive stroke. He had named Caligula his principal heir, and Gemellus, who was his grandson, still a boy, his second heir, in case Caligula should die before him.
He's dead.
Really? Get me his ring. Let us tell the world that the world has a new emperor. Senators, gentlemen, our beloved Emperor Tiberius Claudius is dead. I've just left his room, having closed those tired old eyes with this hand. Before he died, he took from his finger this ring, his own seal, and placed it on my finger, and he said, "I die in peace, little Gaius, knowing that you rule in my place." Those were his last words. I wept. I fell to my knees and wept. Gentlemen, I stand before you now as your emperor.
Master!
Long live Rome!
Master! He's alive again! The Emperor's alive again. He's calling for his supper and he wants his ring back.
Take it, I don't want to
Wait a minute, gentlemen, I'm sure there's been some sort of mistake. This stupid slave saw the wind stirring the clothes on the Emperor's bed, that's all.
No, he's asking for beef cutlets and a goblet of wine.
Quiet, slave, or I'll make a beef cutlet out of you. He's out of his wits, can't you see?
You'd better go and look for yourself.
Exactly. I suggest that you all remain here until the matter's sorted out. Come on.
I want my supper, and I want beef.
I told you he was dead.
Typical of him. He just wanted to see what we'd do if we thought he was dead. I shan't forget this, Macro. I really shan't. Gentlemen, Tiberius Claudius is definitely dead. No question of it. When I entered his room, he was lying peacefully in his bed. We shall take the corpse back to Rome and give him the most magnificent funeral.
Hail Caesar! Hail Caesar! Hail Caesar!
Gentlemen, we are at the dawn of a new golden age. A son of Germanicus has come before us. Let us put ourselves in his hands. Let the Senate vote him supreme power, and let us cry, Rome is saved. Hail Caesar! Hail Caesar!
Hail Caesar! Hail Caesar! Herod Agrippa! Oh, Herod! Herod, I was thinking about you only the other day and wondering where you were and what you were doing.
If I wasn't trying to borrow money from someone, I was probably thinking of you.
Did you both arrive together?
I landed at Brundisium and went straight to Capua. I knew he was living there. I found him in the act of leaving for Rome and intending to call on you on his way. Nothing could have pleased me better.
Oh, sit down. You remember my grandson, Camillus?
He's grown.
Too much in the wrong direction. He never stops eating.
Don't you know it's not good for you to eat all that pastry? That's what clogs the chest.
If I'm to be scolded, I'll go inside.
Oh, listen to him. He's given himself such airs since Tiberius died. He thinks he already rules in Rome.
I do. I was made alternate ruler of my cousin Caligula.
Hold your tongue. The senators set that aside, and quite properly. You're much too young. And besides, people are not made emperors so they can have the run of baker shops.
I can't see that it's any worse to eat too much pastry than it is to drink too much wine. And a lot of grown-ups do that.
He eats for comfort. Livia ignored him. She had other interests.
Yeah, I wrote you about Livia.
Well, let's not talk of it. She's dead and at my hands. I'd do it again.
Well, perhaps things will improve now that Caligula is in command.
Let's hope so.
Well, I like all the titles that you thought of for me, as does my sister Drusilla. I shall probably use them all. And what about the consulship, Lentulus? Your term is up. Have you chosen the consul for the next term?
Well, the choice is obvious to us. The Senate begs you to accept the next term and to choose your own colleague to share it with.
Accepted. And I hereby proclaim that my first act as consul will be to collect all criminal records and dossiers collected by alias Sejanus and have them burnt in the marketplace. And, in memory of my dear mother Agrippina, there will be a new annual festival of horse racing and sword fighting. And in future, the month of September will be known as Germanicus, after my father, as August was after my great-grandfather. And now I have a headache. This audience is at an end.
Is your head bad again? Well, come to my room and I'll soothe it for you.
Lentulus. Here is my chosen colleague to share the consulship with me.
Gemellus. An excellent choice.
No, not Gemellus, not him. My uncle Claudius.
Your uncle Claudius?
Of course. Who else should share it with me but my father's beloved brother? Uncle, I appoint you my colleague as consul for the first term.
He a consul?
But yes, we'll rule together.
I've forgotten all the rules and procedures.
There's nothing. I'll think of everything. You can do everything. Oh, Uncle, there's a galloping in my head, and your stuttering is making it worse. Matter is closed. What is the matter with him?
The matter with him?
Why does he keep clearing his throat like that?
Well, he's had a very bad cough.
Well, can't he get rid of it? It's very irritating to live with someone who's clearing his throat all the time.
Well, he's taking cough mixture.
Oh, I see. Well, let's hope it clears up soon.
Got a weak chest, it's not my fault.
No, but it's your chest. Is that your own hair?
Pardon?
Is it your own hair or is it a wig?
My own.
Oh, why have you got so much and I've got so little? I find that extremely irritating. Much older than I am. Uncle, I've arranged a suite of rooms for you in the palace. You can come and live with me and my sisters. Like that. Whole family will be together. I'm very fond of my family. Generally speaking. Uncle, your first official duty as consul will be to have 2 statues made of my late brothers, Drusus and Nero. And they'll be set up and consecrated in a marketplace. And the ceremony will take place in early December. Oh, yes, I know it'll cost a great deal of money, but there's plenty of money. Tiberius left 27 million gold pieces.
May I ask how much is left?
Lentulus, how much is left?
Between 8 and 9, Caesar.
Is that all?
He left a lot of debts.
The greedy skinflint! He owed money to everybody and left me to pay for it all. I should have killed him when I had the chance. Oh, my headache's getting worse. Galloping inside and pounding of hooves.
Come to my room.
It's my head. What was I saying?
You should have killed him when you had the chance.
Many times I had the chance, and many times I thought of doing it.
Well, perhaps I should take Emellus to his room.
No, I'm just about to tell you a story. Let him hear. This will become, I'm sure, an historic anecdote. I want you to write it down, Uncle, when you retire to your room. Oh, you stop coughing!
It's very difficult.
Well, try! Lentulus, how much is left?
Of what?
Of Tiberius' fortune.
Between 8 and 9 million, Caesar.
Is that all?
He also left a lot of debts.
I've had this conversation before. What's the matter with you? I know what I was about to say. I was going to tell you a story. Happened 3-4 years ago in Capri when I was still nothing but an innocent young boy, shocked and shamed by the depravity to which the emperor had fallen in his old age. More and more, in my precocious wisdom, I realized that the fate of Rome might rely on the single stroke of a knife. A knife in my hand. And the thought tormented me. I began to see it as my inescapable destiny. But why me? I said. Why me, who never had a single violent thought in his life? Why should this onerous duty be thrust upon me? Yet, one night, sleepless as usual with grief, the fate of my dear mother and my dear brothers, I decided, come what might, that I would be avenged at last upon their murderer. So I took a knife that belonged to my father Germanicus, and I went into the emperor's room, and he lay tossing and groaning in a nightmare of guilt, and there was a galloping in my head and a pounding. Yes, I remember. That was the first time I heard it. And I lifted the dagger in order to strike, when a divine voice sounded in my ear. Great grandson, stop. Hold your hand. To kill him would be impious. I froze. I turned to see if I could find the owner of the voice, but there was no one in the room besides the emperor and myself. And yet I felt the presence of the divine Augustus. Oh, God, Augustus, I cried. He killed my mother and my brothers, your descendants. Should I not avenge them, even at the risk of being shunned by all men as a parricide? Augustus answered, "O magnanimous son, who art to be emperor hereafter, There is no need to do what you would do. By my orders, the Furies nightly avenge your dear ones while he sleeps. Leave them to their work and him to his torments, the torments of his dreams, and the torments to come in the hereafter. He will suffer eternal agonies, I swear, while you, my son, while after a glorious reign will enter the bosom of Augustus. I threw the dagger aside. Father, help me! Help me! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
The statues must be ready by the end of November.
I said I'd do my best. More I can't.
Now, look here, I can take the work somewhere else.
You'd be losing time. We've already started them.
You've got the marble, you haven't started them.
I promise you we'll make a start tomorrow. In any case, the way the Emperor is, he's not going to be ready in time for the ceremony.
You mind the Emperor. That's his business. You just make sure those statues are ready.
The Emperor awoke earlier this morning, but then relapsed into a coma. That's all I can tell you. I suggest that you return to your homes. Everything that can be done is being done.
We pray for him hourly. Tell him that if he wakes.
I shall.
Tell him that I've offered my own life in place of his if the gods will spare him. If anything should happen to him, it will be the worst calamity to befall Rome since the death of Germanicus.
Your prayers will help him, I'm sure.
Uncle Claudius, you must come quickly. He's awake and he wants to see you.
What for?
I don't know. But for heaven's sake, humor him. He'll kill you if you don't say what he wants you to say.
What does he want me to
I
say?
don't know. But he just tried to kill me. He said I didn't love him. He made me swear over and over again that I did. Oh, do go, please.
Hail, Caesar. What a joy to see you alive and to hear your voice again. And I hope that you're better.
I've never really been ill.
Oh, really?
No. I've been undergoing a metamorphosis.
Was it painful?
It was like a birth in which the mother delivers herself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that must have been painful. May I inquire, what is the character of this glorious change which has come over you?
Isn't it obvious?
You've become a god! Oh, my God. Oh, let me worship you. Oh, how could I have been so blind?
Well, I am still in mortal disguise. That wouldn't help you.
Oh, no, I should have seen it at once. Your face shines, even in this light, like a lamp.
Does it? Get up and give me that mirror. Oh, it is bright, isn't it?
I could freed by it.
I always knew that this would happen. I always knew that I was divine. Oh, think of it. When I was 2, I put down a mutiny in my father's army and so saved Rome. Well, that was prodigious.
It's like the stories they tell of Mercury as a child, or Hercules who strangled snakes in his cradle.
Exactly. Only Mercury only stole a few oxen, whereas by the age of 10, I'd already killed my father. Oh, you didn't know that, did you?
No. Divinity.
Oh, even Jove didn't do that. He merely banished the old man.
Why, if you don't mind my asking, did you do that?
Well, he stood in my way. Me, a young god, he tried to discipline me. So I frightened him to death in Antioch.
So it was you who did all that? That's incredible.
Oh, no, not at all. Not for a god, it was very simple. And not only did I kill my natural father, I also killed my adopted father, Tiberius. And Jove never did that.
No, I've never read that he did that.
You see, and you're a very well-read man. And whereas Jove only slept with one of his sisters, I slept with all 3 of mine. All 3 have admitted a god into their beds. Martina told me that it was the right thing for a god to do.
Oh, you knew Martina well.
Oh, yes, very well. A very wise woman. When my parents were in Egypt, I used to visit her every day, and she taught me the whole history of the gods, especially the Greek ones. And she said that I was more like Zeus than Jove. That Jove was just a pale Roman copy of Zeus. Zeus married his sister, didn't he?
Yes.
What was her name?
Hera.
Hera, that's it. And she became pregnant by him.
No, that was Metis. And fearing that the child would become stronger than himself and rule the heavens, he took the child from her body and swallowed it whole. And Athena sprang from his head.
Yes, something like that. I never used to believe that sort of story, but of course now I can see that they're true. Well, now you understand why I have always been divine. And Drusilla is divine, too. I shall announce it at the same time that I announce my own divinity.
Oh, this is the most glorious hour of my life. Will you allow me to retire and sacrifice to you at once? The divine air you exhale is too strong for me. I'm fainting, divinity.
Go in peace. I was thinking of killing you, but I've changed my mind. Send Drusilla to me.
He wants to see you. He's become a god. Oh, you're a god, too. We're not.
A god? Which one?
He thinks he's Zeus.
It sounds bad for us mortals.
Oh, perhaps not. When he decides to announce his divinity, the law sees mad, they'll lock him up. We'll have the Republic back. My friend, this could be the best thing that ever happened to us.
The Emperor is coming. Now, there is something that you ought to know before he arrives, so that you won't be taken totally by surprise. We are privileged to be living at the time of the most astonishing event. The Emperor has undergone a transformation, a metamorphosis. He has become a god. Now, that is unusual, to say the least. But that's the nature of miracles, to be unusual. And if it's the nature of some people not to believe in them, well, the more fool them. However, the Emperor doesn't want to make too much of it. He doesn't want any fuss or public announcements. He wants us all to behave normally. Although he is now a god, He is still the same lovable young man we've always known. I can attest to that. And to enable his relationships with all of us to continue exactly as they were, he has decided, for convenience, to retain his mortal form. Oh, and by the way, his sister Drusilla's become a goddess. Any questions?
Well, of course, it is unusual, but as Sartorius Macro says, that is the nature of miracles. Why, one must ask oneself, are gods made only after death? Sooner or later, a man was bound to be reborn a god in our very midst. If we worship the divine Augustus after his death, doesn't it make sense to worship his great-grandson while he's still alive? I think we should count ourselves fortunate to be living at this time. Gentlemen, posterity will envy us.
Posterity will call you an ass, you idiot.
The Emperor!
My sister and I are pleased to admit you into our presence once again.
Recovery is a miracle.
But you've prayed for it, Lentulus.
Night and day. But our prayers are not always heard.
Yes, but yours were very special, so I understand. You offered your life to the gods in the place of mine. That was extremely noble.
That's true. I did.
And what are you going to do about it?
Do about it? What do you mean?
Well, I'm still here, and so are you. But we oughtn't both to be here. Should we not give the gods the things that we promised them? You're in danger of the crime of perjury, Lentulus. Think about it. But not too long. The gods won't wait forever. Of that I can assure you. I know them only too well. And now we will walk through the marketplace and the forum and show ourselves to the people of Rome. Still coughing, I see. We shall have to do something about that. You haven't forgotten my statues, have you?
Certainly not.
Herod, you're back with us.
To bring you my congratulations, Caesar.
Come walk with me a while. I want to talk to you.
Do you mean to tell me that there is no one in all Rome man enough to strike him down like a dog?
It's very difficult, Mother. There are always guards. Sejanus sort of that. And anyway, I've never killed anyone before.
Besides, everyone secretly believes this madness can't last. Either he'll recover his senses or he'll die.
But couldn't you poison his food?
Oh, Mother. What am I? An assassin?
A living god among us.
And a goddess.
Oh, I saw that coming a long time ago. To take a sister for a wife. They will rot in hell for it, both of them.
Well, to be honest, I feel sorry for her.
You would.
She's terrified of him, so she plays up to him. I can't say that I blame her.
I'd kill myself first.
No one wants to die, Mother. I saw Lentulus' face the day it dawned on him that the god wasn't joking. He waited a long time hoping Caligula would forget it, but he didn't. He sent Macro with a colonel of the guards to watch him while he opened his veins.
He got what he deserved. They all deserve it, and you too. You are a pack of shameless cowards. When Germanicus died, there died the last of the Romans.
It's good to get away from Rome.
You're fortunate you don't have to live in the palace. The antics that go on there at night
I
are
don't want to hear them.
incredible.
I have heard enough.
Is there anything left in the privy purse?
No, not much. We gave a charioteer 20,000 gold pieces the other day just for winning a race.
When the money runs out, you'd all better watch out.
I'll see you both at supper.
He's very upset.
Well, what can I do? I've got a mad nephew, but I can't kill him. What's the matter with us, Herod? These are the children of my noble brother, Germanicus. How could it happen?
Well, you know what they say about the tree of the Claudians. It bears two kinds of fruit, the sweet and the bad.
We've certainly had a terrifying crop this season.
This isn't their house. This is our house.
Yeah.
We shall spend most of our time here. I'll build a bridge to connect with the palace. And I'll hold my audiences here.
Yes.
Look at him. Jove. Does he look like a god?
An inferior god.
An inferior god. Did you hear that? You're not important enough for this temple. I beg your pardon. Be careful what you say to me, otherwise I'll have your face smashed in. Well, speak up, I can't hear you. Well, for now you may address me as Zeus, for in power he is the nearest who approaches me. You were created by the old Romans in his image, but you're nothing. Nothing, do you hear me? And this is here. Out of whom the Romans created you.
We shall move you both to an annex. You've been here far too long. This is the temple in which I have chosen to bear the child of Zeus.
Mine.
The child of Zeus. To rule the universe.
Tell her what it's like to be loved by Zeus. Tell her.
It was like the sun bursting in my veins. It was like a shooting star. It was as if all the lights of the universe blazed at once in my womb. And a new universe was born.
But you promised they'd be ready today. Don't get so excited. I did not promise. I said I'd do my best. That's all I promised.
You knew they had to be ready for the ceremony tomorrow.
Well, Nero's ready.
Well, one's no good without the other one, you idiot.
Well, there's no need to be offensive.
Offensive? I'll have you blown out of the city.
Well, what can I do? The marble didn't arrive till last week, and one of my best sculptors been off sick.
The marble was here last time I called.
It was? Oh, yeah, but there was a crack
yes,
in it.
Yes, if you used it for somebody else, you'd know.
I swear, as Jove is my judge, we never used it for anyone else. Look, take Nero, and I'll have Brutus ready in a week.
Oh, you can keep it. Got me into a great deal of trouble.
Keep it? What am I going to do with a statue of Nero?
You can stick it, and you know where you can stick it. And I'll sue you in the courts for breach of contract.
You'll sue me? I'll sue you. I'll sue you for damages, for misrepresentation, for fraud. You'll be hearing from my lawyers, I promise you. And I'll charge you for that too.
Caesar, there's something you should know.
Can you hear it?
Hear what?
Gemellus. Coughing. Can't you hear it?
No.
Oh, what it is to have the senses of a god. I can hear everything. Even a leaf falling on the other side of the world. Sometimes it's unbearable to hear so much. Can't you hear anything?
Not a thing.
I was coughing all the way through dinner. Why weren't you at dinner, by the way?
I fell asleep.
Coughing all the way through dinner. And even when he went to his room on the far side of the palace, I could still hear him. No one else could. Not even Hera.
Hera? Oh, yeah, yes, Hera. No, I don't think she would have heard him.
Stopped. Oh, yeah, I'm glad. Yes. You wanted to tell me something.
Yes, it's about the statues.
Yes, that's something I wanted to talk to you about. You've noticed too.
Notice what?
Well, that none of the statues of the gods in Rome look like me. Well, I can't have that. I want you to go out and collect all the important statues of the gods in Rome and replace their heads with one of my own.
Your own?
Yes. And Hera's too. You could put her head on the statue of Venus. Isn't she beautiful? And she's pregnant. She carries my child in her womb. And the thought torments me. And what could it be like? Could it be greater than Zeus himself? Could it rule the universe?
The statues of Nero and Drusus won't be ready for the ceremony.
What?
The statues of your brothers won't be ready in time.
Won't be ready?
No, it's not my fault. I ordered them in time.
You're an idiot. Your mother always said you were an idiot. I was a fool to have trusted you. I've a good mind to have your throat cut. In fact, I'll do it now. No! What is it?
Who is it?
Gemellus. I've cured his cough.
Oh, no. Oh, no, God!
And you're not consul anymore! You are dismissed! I'll find somebody else! Take it away. It looks horrible.
Yes, Caesar.
Drusilla, wake up, please. Please, Drusilla, my head. Please. No one can be greater than Zeus. Not even the child of Zeus.
Well, there weren't many at the funeral, were there?
What did you expect? Caligula denounced him as a traitor to the Senate.
All the same, he was Tiberius' grandson, and he's still only a boy. How could people believe such nonsense?
People will believe anything if it suits them. We may count ourselves fortunate he didn't celebrate the funeral with games. I want to speak to Claudius alone.
Oh, of course. I'll go. Is there something wrong, lady, or is it Gemellus' funeral that has upset you?
It's the funeral. Goodbye, Herod.
Goodbye.
You going away somewhere?
Yes. At long last, I'm going to join your father.
What do you mean?
I'm going to kill myself. Now, don't start any nonsense.
But you can't.
Oh, yes, I can. My life's my own. It'll be a welcome release. I've no wish to go on living in this place. And you don't have to pretend you'll miss me.
Of course I miss you. You're my mother.
Well, that's very dutiful of you, considering I've never been very loving towards you. And I'm sorry for that, but you've always been a great disappointment to me, Claudius.
Oh, please don't say that.
Oh, there, you see, you're crying at your age.
Well, I shouldn't. I cry.
Well, there's no need. Keep your tears for yourself. You may need them. I shan't.
Don't do it, please.
My mind is made up. I don't want to stay here anymore. I was born into a world of people. It's become a kennel of mad dogs. I've seen my splendid son Germanicus murdered, and my grandsons, Drusus, Nero, Gemellus. My granddaughter's a degenerate beyond redemption, and your sister Livia died by my own hand. That was the worst. I should have died then myself.
Wait a while. Caligula's sick in his mind. Sooner or later.
No, Rome is sick, sick to its heart. He's just the rash it's come out in.
Well, he can't last forever.
No. And I dare say you'll survive it. You'd survive the Great Flood, I know that now. But I've no wish to. I've stayed too long, and I've always thought it the height of good manners to know when to leave.
You'll find all my affairs in order. Pay my debts and be good to my slaves. They've been very loyal. I shall go down to Antium and do it there. Come in 5 hours. I shall be dead by then, but wait till Briseis confirms it. I wouldn't want you to catch my dying breath. I count on you to pay me the last rites. And remember, cut off my hand for separate burial, for this will be suicide. It'll be just like you to forget it. And Claudius, please, don't make a muddle of the valedictory. You may kiss me.
She's dead, Master. You can go in.
What was it?
Oh, so easy, Master. When life so wants to escape, it takes but the touch of a knife on the vein to let it flow away.
She didn't cry out?
Only at the end. I heard her call to your father. Drusus, Drusus, she said, forgive me. Forgive me.
Forgive me?
Perhaps for keeping him waiting so long. I've taken her out of the bath and laid her out. She's covered with a sheet. You can go and see her now.
Yes, I'll come.
Don't be sad, Master. She wanted to go. It was no effort. Calm as you like, and brave. Well, she was Mark Antony's daughter, and Octavius. You'd expect it to be like that. I've cut off her hand for separate burial.
Why did you do it?
She asked me to, Master. Perhaps she thought it might slip your mind.
Zeusy! Zeusy! My husband, where are you? Oh, you're not Zeusy. You're not my husband, Zeusy. You're just my silly old uncle, Claudius.
It was your grandmother's funeral today. Couldn't you have attended?
Gods don't attend funerals.
Yes, you're drunk.
No. My husband found this wonderful potion which we take. It makes you feel as if you're riding through the air. Have you seen him, my husband? He's hiding.
Do you mean your brother?
Yes, my brother. My divine, potent brother. Do you know he's to be a father? Hera is with child by Zeus, or Metis, or Diana. Sometimes I'm one, sometimes I'm the other. He gets a bit confused.
Why do you play up to him like this?
Why do you? You play the clown, I play the goddess.
You're disgusting.
You wouldn't dare say that to him. You're afraid. Oh, we're all afraid. Even he is. Do you know what he's afraid of? This.
He's afraid it will be more powerful than he is and rule the heavens. Now I have something he's afraid of. Zusi! Zusi! Where are you? Zusi! Zusi, my treasure, are you in there? Zusi! Oh, you frightened me. Oh, it's magnificent. Oh, it'll tickle a bit. Why are you hiding in here?
I wanted you to find me in here. You see, I've altered my whole room. Olympus. We gods like to live on mountaintops, and while I have to live in this awful palace, this reminds me of my real home.
What's this?
A chariot to draw you up to the clouds. Drink this.
Oh, I think I've drunk enough. Is it the same?
It's the same. We gods drink it before we perform a miracle. Drink it, drink, drink.
Mm. Mm.
You know I love you. More than anything in the whole world. Let me show you how you will be drawn up into Olympus. You see, golden bracelets to help you. To help you. Ride.
Oh, shall we ride together?
Who am I?
Zeus, Lord of Heaven, my husband.
Who are you?
The Queen of Heaven, your wife.
Do you trust me?
Oh, utterly, my lover, my lord.
There'll be no pain, I promise.
Pain? Why, what do you want to do, my angel? You know I can resist you nothing. What you doing? What you want to do? Oh, come on, tell the Queen of Heaven what her Lord and Master wants.
I must draw the child from the Queen of Heaven's womb and swallow it whole, so that a new child may grow out of the head of Zeus.
Yes, darling. Draw it out. Let Zeus take the child and... Oh. Then let's go to bed. Our Queen's very sleepy. What's that? What you going to do?
There'll be no pain, I know it.
Pain? But why should... Caligula?
We are immortal gods. There. Don't go in there.
It's a thing of photo, and it can't be beautiful and the cheddar. Last light, really tight. Oh my God, let's fly. Either way, the man could be a liar. It's mango, be your stable. In the forgive vessel, say you. Just when I'm secret to the kitchen. It's better to see it in your wonder. Can never power. Light and it matter, break and shadow. I'm gonna give it the hand and the share. Force of the essay to the gut cheap. Medical online is a season. We're gonna online. It's a thing of photo. Better keep it can and be APC. Because beautiful and the cheddar. Last light. Really tight. Oh my God, let's fly. Either way, the man could be a liar. It's mango, be your stable. In the forgive vessel, say you. Just when I'm secret to the kitchen. It's better to see it in your wonder. Can never power. Light and it matter, break and shadow. I'm gonna give it the hand and the share. Force of the essay to the gut cheap. Medical online is a season. We're gonna online. It's a thing of photo. Better keep it can and be APC. Because beautiful and the cheddar. Last light. Really tight. Oh my God, let's fly. Either way, the man could be